Spilled my coffee. Son of a gun. All right. All right. You all can hear me. You can't see me yet. We're getting there. Ugh, I didn't spill my coffee on me, but I spilled it like on my desk and stuff. Go and wipe it all up. All right. And just because I filled it kind of full. And then, of course, jostled my desk. All right. But I think I'm put back together. Okay. Excuse me here for just a moment. I'm messing with y'all. Okay. Oh, I see. You gotta squeeze it. There we go. Loosen it. Hey, that seems good. Seems like I'm more or less centered in frame. Oh, y'all, I am. My desk position and stuff this was a good desk position for before I was streaming and just the way I was using stuff. But I mean, I was still doing a lot of video chatting and stuff with students and meetings and things like that. Didn't need the background, or didn't really like the background, but didn't really care. Now all of a sudden I care a little bit more. But that'll be a thing for later. Right now I'm just focused on, learning how to stream and getting used to the regularity of it, right? Like the because right now I'm doing 5 days a week, 5 days in a row. Which is just, it's a lot to, make sure you can maintain an undisrupted schedule, even though it's only like an hour and a half per stream, sort of right in the middle of the afternoon can make that tough to maintain over a long period of time. But that's okay. I may occasionally have canceled or missed streams. I think next week I'm going to adjust my schedule again slightly. I think for the right after school time, we'll probably still stick to 3:30 to 5 for right now, with probably a vision of expanding that to 3:30 to 5:30 maybe or something. But I think I'm also going to do at least one late night stream next week, and I might do that on Tuesday, maybe Monday, just to start testing that out. And we have sort of the chill morning stream on Sundays. We have the right after school streams a few days a week. And then we also have this sort of later at night stream. Okay. No, let's get... Okay, here's this. Today, what I wanted to... Well, I have... at some point, I knew I wanted to talk about programming, like computer programming and things like that. My cat may want out of the room. Eventually you'll meet my cat. Her name's Destroyer. She doesn't like to be picked up and stuff, so like I'm not going to bring her over here. But eventually, once I sort of get this space more figured out, I'll be able to like move the camera more easily. I don't want to jostle it and then have to figure out how to get it right in the right spot again. So things to look forward to, and maybe there'll be a Q&A stream or a, office tour stream or whatever. Those are things to look forward to. Anyway, today, stream starting soon. Stream has started now. Today's topic, programming. I wanted to talk a little bit about programming today for two reasons. I have a programming project I'm working on, and so I'm thinking about it, and I'm sort of re-familiarizing myself with the programming language Python, which is a really great programming language to learn programming with. But it's also really versatile. It's one of the most used programming languages in the world, especially in like in the sciences, math and various science statistics and things like that. It's just really easy because it's pretty straightforward to learn. People who need the power of it, but have never learned a program, can pick it up pretty easily to learn just the specific thing that they need to do with it. And then they probably don't ever learn anything else, which is fine. And that's actually kind of my point, is pick up, if you have an opportunity to, if you're at all curious about computer programming, pick up just a few little skills, a couple things to just help you out. And so today I wanted to show an example. It's not going to be super mathy programming because we'll get there, right? I do have one of the topics I want to do is like programming the approximation of an integral or a derivative or anything like that. Do some calculus programming. It can really help you understand some of the concepts in calculus, things like Riemann sums and things like that. But for today, I want to just talk about the I lost the word. Just the idea, right? I want to do sort of an introduction, like what is programming? How does it even work? Maybe some of you have never. So what I wanted to do, let me find the window. Get rid of that one. Sorry, I am trying to figure out. I'm just going to relaunch this. The thing I wanted to look at, I had already launched, but I put it into I didn't know how to get it back to its start state. So let's just open it back up. Python idle. Okay, there's that. That is a little window. Okay, I think this will work. Let me switch my screen share to that. I don't know if you heard, if the Mike picked that little thud up, that was Destroyer. She's like a 15-pound cat. There you go. She's looking to get run out of the room. I'll be right back. It's okay. Yeah, you can leave. She is a panther of a cat, is kind of my point. She's big ol' muscular cat. So she just thuds when she jumps off of stuff. Can I? Okay, I'm full screen again. Let's share my screen. What is happening? There we go. Hey! Awesome, that worked. Okay, cool. This is what I'm going to show you some programming stuff on today. This is a Python programming interface. So it's a little program that understands the Python programming language. So people have all sorts, people who don't really know anything about programming and coding, but have like sort of picked it up from culture, right? From media, things like that, have all sorts of different ideas. And some people might know about binary, like zeros and ones and things like that. Basically, no modern programmer writes code actually in binary, and nobody ever really has, right? We can go into some history of that sort of stuff. Because it would be really hard to do that. That's the most base level, like actually construct, because all programming is it's giving instructions to a generalized computer. Or it doesn't even have to be a generalized computer. You also would program to us with a specialized computer that can only do, whatever. And so you could do that by understanding how to give the instructions to the computer directly in its sort of native language of binary. But that's really hard for people to do. It's, it's really difficult because we can't intuitively read binary. We have to just sort of understand what we're doing. And it's really easy to make mistakes and find those mistakes and all of that stuff. So what people have done is they've, over the development of the idea of computer programming, which actually started way before computers even existed. This was theory way before we actually had digital computers like this. We've had kind of mechanical computers for a while. Anyway, so what people have done is they said, okay, well, we know this. We know what the binary instructions we want it to end up as. So we're going to create like a language that kind of resembles a human language, so we can use it more easily. And then we will program something that understands how to translate between this really specialized, kind of like a human language that uses letters and numbers other than 0 and 1 and stuff like that. And there will be a specific way to translate between that and the binary, and we'll build that all in. And so people can write it in this, and they'll run it through a translator that translates it from the more human readable and understandable code into the binary. And over the years, we've just made that human readable programming language more and more like human language. And until we get something called like Python, which is a pretty high level language. It's really, really removed from the zeros and ones of binary. And even there's actually layers in between, and it's even removed from those. It's sort of, we call it abstracted, which is nice for a person to use, but it does create limitations of the language too. There's some potentially really powerful, really specific stuff that would be hard to do with Python if you really needed to really control the hardware of the computer. But anyway, suffice it to say, if you're thinking about learning to program or just even curious about it, Python as a language might be something you plug into like your Google search when you're, instead of just learn to program, or if you're looking up YouTube videos or whatever, you can say, you can do learn Python, and you'll get much more specific results intended to help you learn to program with this language that's pretty easy to learn with. And so the idea here, this can do some really straightforward stuff. At its most basic, it can just be a calculator, 3 plus 4, and I hit enter, and I got 7. Right? I wonder. Hold on. Let's see. Can I make? Can I make the text any bigger? I wonder. Oh, I totally can. Hey, is that better? A little bit. Let's make it even a little bit bigger still, huh? That seems, is that better? Yeah, it totally is, right? This is bigger compared to that. Okay, just the way the window shares into the stream. Anyway, so this is the thing you can do. This is something you would expect a computer to be able to do, add together some numbers or multiply, right? We can also do 3 times 4, stuff like that. But in programming, one of the first things you learn, one of the first powerful things you learn is that you can actually store values. So what if, so I'm just going to call it A, because you can call variables basically anything. There's some rules for your variable names, but I'm going to write A equals 3 plus 4. And I'm going to hit enter. And notice nothing happened now. So up here, I was telling this, the command here is do 3 plus 4, and the default with that command is output the result to the screen right here, and it prints it, and you can see it's printed in blue. That might be a little hard to see on the stream, but this is blue, black, blue again, black. Okay, but here it didn't do anything. But now watch, if I hit A is 7 because I said A is 3 plus 4. Now watch what I can do. I can do A plus 3. If A is 7, A is equal to 3 plus 4. And when I hit A, when I put A in and just hit enter, it says the value of it 7 because that's a default behavior if you just put in a value and hit enter. So if I put A plus 3 in, if A is 7, 7 plus 3, it should say 10, right? It totally does. Notice, watch, if I say A again, A is still 7. It didn't add that 3 to the A. It still thinks A is 7 because we haven't actually changed A. Watch what we can do, though. How about this? We can do A equals A plus 3. And I hit enter, nothing happens, right? Because the command we're giving it is this A equals, and that's a variable assignment command. So A is a variable, and this equal sign is the way Python understands an equal sign. That's telling it, okay, take this variable, this symbol that doesn't have any inherent value, like this symbol 3, right? We know what that is. That's this many. That's 1, 2, 3, right? So that symbol can never represent anything other than the value 3. But A doesn't have any inherent value attached to it. So we can make A equal to anything. And so that's what this command right here is doing. It's saying, okay, here's a variable name, something that's not a concrete value. And there's a few things you can't use as variable names because they're reserved by the language. But pretty much anything that's a combination of letters and numbers, you can put numbers in there too. I think it can't start with a number. And you can't use spaces, but you can use underscores. But yeah, so I said, here's a variable value. Equals says now assign a value to this value holder, this variable. And then on the other side of it is the value you want it to assign. But notice it can do calculations in that, right? So this is kind of sophisticated. So we did A equals A plus 3. So up here we just did A plus 3, output 10. But then I told it, okay, did you change A? And no, it said A is still 7. But here, again, we have a variable name. And now it's a variable that already exists, but Python doesn't care. It just needs a place to put the values. So here's a variable name, equals says, now put something in this variable. What are you going to put in it? Well, take what A currently is and add 3 to that. And that's what you're going to store in A. So that's what should be in there now. So if I hit enter, what do you think we should get? $10, right? Which sort of makes sense. We know A was 7. So this is kind of interesting. It takes the value that A was, 7, adds that to 3, then it says, okay, now I have the value of 10, just like we did up here. But what's it going to do with that value of 10? Oh, it's going to assign it. It's going to store it in this A variable. And now anytime I use A, it's equal to 10. So right now we're just using it as kind of a powerful calculator. And it is a really powerful calculator. We can also do I don't think this notation is going to work, but I'm going to try something. Okay, yeah. Can I assign to function call here? Maybe you meant. Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe I did mean that. So notice, so I typed in something that it didn't understand what I was telling it, because with programming languages, you have to be precise. Sometimes there is multiple ways, or a lot of times, especially for complicated tasks, there's multiple ways to accomplish them. But each of those ways is still very specific. You have to use a specific, what we call syntax, which is sort of the order and meaning of the symbols you use. And the symbols are just the characters. And then you can combine characters together to make words. And sometimes words within a programming language are like keywords. They're meaningful. And then all of the symbols have meanings. You know, plus does what we expect it to. It adds 2 values together. Equals is a little bit weird because in math, we use all an equal sign does is just tell us the left-hand side is the same value as the right-hand side. In programming, it's an active thing. An equal sign takes the thing on the right and makes the thing on the left equal to it, have the same value. So it's an active thing. We call it value assignment. There is a way, this double equal sign it said right here. This is what we call a comparative equals. So actually, forget what I was doing here. Don't worry about that just yet. We'll come back to that. But this is a good opportunity to. So we have our A in here. Let's also take a B. So a new variable that doesn't currently have a value. I've never talked about a B in this instance, right? I can shut this down and all of these variables will disappear and they'll be reset to not having any value at all. Ooh, actually, since I haven't assigned B, let's see what happens. This is a good opportunity, right? Okay, B, I haven't talked anything about B yet. And I opened this fresh. I hadn't done anything else. So let's see what it thinks B is. Ooh, it gives us an error. All right. So all this stuff in red, these are error messages. This is saying you gave an instruction, you type something in and then hit enter, that Python, that is not a valid Python instruction. So when you're learning to program, you don't have to really understand any of this, right? Just know that you got an error and then you start learning to parse it, right? Don't worry about what a traceback is, most recent call, last, don't worry about any of that. File, don't worry about that. Line 1, there's multiple lines here. So why is it referring to line 1? And is this line 1 or is this line 1, right? So don't worry about that. In module, okay, B, that's the name of the variable I was using. It says name error. Name B is not defined. Oh, it's aware I haven't assigned a value to B. So when you just hit, so like if I were just to hit 8 and hit enter, notice what it does. It says, oh, that's hitting enter says submit this instruction. And if the instruction is just a value, well, then its behavior is to display that value, right? That's what we did with A. when we hit A and hit it, putting a value, like a variable value, like A, and hitting enter, it interprets that to mean display that actual value, not the name of the value, the symbol, but the actual stored numerical value, right? So that's the default behavior there. So, and since B didn't have a value inside of it, and so notice the value wasn't 0. So here's what we're going to do actually. We're going to do B equals 0. And now I'll hit enter. And now I hit B, and it tells us B is 0. So notice there is a difference between nothing and the value of 0. 0 is a value that exists on the number line. It's a specific position on the number line. It is a result of 1 minus 1, that sort of thing. And it is a valid value and number. In programming, there's sort of this other nothing condition, which we often refer to as null, N-U-L-L, right? And in fact, actually, if I type null in, does it go blue? It doesn't. Let's see what happens if I type it. Oh, let me use this up. Name is not defined. Okay, it's just seeing it as a, yeah. Okay. A lot of times that phrase null is reserved in programming languages. In this particular version of Python, it looks like it doesn't reserve that. I can name a variable null, but null is the absence of value. When you have a variable that hasn't yet been assigned a value, it is null. It is empty. It's not equal to 0. 0 and null are not the same thing. 0 is a value. It's just the 0 value, right? So that could be a thing that's a little bit tough for people to wrap their heads around initially with programming. There are a few places where there are some real particular sticking points. That's one of them. This idea of 0 does represent both the absence of value, but it is a value, right? It is a specific concrete value. There's a symbol, right? 0 equals 0. Null is a different thing. It is, and in fact, having variables equal to null that you try to use can create a lot of problems. We saw that right away, right? So I assigned B to 0, but if I assign C, we get an error. I can't do anything with that C. I can't even add C plus 0. We still get an error because how do you add something that's not a number yet to 0? And here's what I mean by that. So let's how do I clear the screen, I wonder? Let's look. Is there a... Well, okay, I was trying to see. So learning to program, and this is my hope is that this is encouraging. Learning to program doesn't mean learning the entire language of Python before you start trying to code and build things and use Python. In fact, that's a really good way to never actually learn how to program. So what I'm doing here, I think this is the best way to learn how to program. Get something like Python up and running on your computer, and it's straightforward. Let's actually, this is, maybe I'll show you how to do that really quick. That can be useful. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing this. We'll go back here. We'll reshare my screen. Yeah, I guess maybe I should have shown this from the beginning, right? So the thing I'm recommending is called Python idle shell. You can't see my search. Downloads. Here you go. So it's literally just python.org. This should be it. Does this say it includes the idle? Oh, and you click it. Okay, I think it's that easy. And then you would go to your downloads and you just run that installer. I'm gonna get rid of it because I didn't mean to. And I think when you run the installer, it'll ask you if you want to install what you want to install. So there's the little program, the window I showed you. So let me get that up and going again. You know what, Windows? My start menu crashed. The start menu shouldn't even be able to crash. Here, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna. What do you do if the start menu crashes? That's so frustrating. I guess you just wait for it to restart. Literally. Yeah, I think Windows Explorer crashed. So I just have to wait for. Sorry, y'all. I'm running into some technical difficulties on my computer itself. What I'm experiencing doesn't have anything to do with the Python stuff. I had a lot of stuff, but between the stream, the various Chrome stuff I have up, Chrome tabs I have open to support the stream, and trying to do the Python thing, and then downloading and then delete. Yeah, so I just kind of asked my computer to do a whole bunch of stuff all at once. Anyway, while I'm waiting for that, hopefully it'll come back here. Oh, you know what I didn't do is I didn't check to make sure the stream. I'm back, I think. That says I'm connected. This says I'm connected. I'm back. Sorry about that. All right. Well, it did present an opportunity for me to slow my roll a little bit and actually like do the beginning of the stream stuff here now that we're halfway in. So hi, I'm Ryan, the calculus tutor. I am here to answer your math questions. Math homework questions or just questions from class, questions, why is math like this? Why is math class like this? Whatever you want. So the way you will submit questions right now, and this will change over time. I'm going to keep trying to stream all of this, but right now you'll go to thecalculustutor.com. You'll just type that into your browser, hit enter, and when you do that, you will see this page right here. This one right here. Yes, there we go. Let me scroll up. Haha. There you go. Oh, and actually, let me log out of this. I'll make it look the way you will see it. Sorry. You will go to thecalculustutor.com and there we go. This is my webpage. My partner makes website, and they made it. It's not like Squarespace or anything. It's built using the WordPress platform, but the WordPress self-hosted platform, right? Which is so there's there shouldn't be any tracking, anything like that in there for those of you that care. Yeah, so the whole purpose of this website is just a place to contain all this streaming stuff and all of my tutoring stuff. So you go to thecalculustutor.com, and my hope is that you could just watch the stream right from there. You can hit play. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to display the stream on stream and get all that weirdness going on, but you can play right here. My hope is maybe make this part of your math homework routine. After school, I recommend, if you can swing it, if you don't stay like right after school, find a place, the library, a teacher's classroom, to set up, your school laptop or whatever device you prefer. You can even do your phone. Get that set up. Get your math stuff, your math homework out. Get the stream going, and just start doing your homework. The stream is up and ready to go. If you encounter a problem, well, what do? You already have the stream. You already have the website up, the stream going. So you just click submit a question. And you wait for it to load. And wait, let the internet be slow. There you go. It'll take you right here. Submit homework problems. So 2 ways. What I hope is the best, most streamlined way is this homework submission form. And it'll take you right to this. Quick little caveat. If you click that and it doesn't take you here, but rather it brings up like a weird, like Google, like your Google account can't access this form because of your organization. Basically, if it doesn't take you right to this, it's probably because your school Google account won't let you access things that aren't Google things that aren't made within your school Google ecosystem. So you could either use your personal Google account, or you can just email me directly, and there's instructions back on the website for that. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. Also, though, if you do find that out, you do try to use the form and it says your school Google account won't let you access it, when you email me your homework question instead, mention that you couldn't access the form with your 4J Google account or your school Google account, whatever school district you use. Because if that's true, I want to try to reach out to the district and see if I can do something about that. See if they can make it so that this particular form or whatever. I don't know. I don't know if that's possible, but anyway, it would be useful to me. I don't have access to a 4J or a school Google account that I can test with, so I need to wait for actual users like you. So if you can't, go ahead and email me, ryan@thecalculustutor.com. Submit your question that way, but also, if you remember, mention that you couldn't connect to the form. I hope you can, though. I think you'll be able to, but so this walks you right through it. The reason you either there isn't an option where you just can submit a question through the form without a Google account is because you can submit pictures, and Google requires that if people are submitting files, they have to also be signed in with a Google account, which I totally get. So yeah, you have to check this and say, yes, you can record my email address. So there is that bit of data collection. It's just your email address, and just so, and mostly because Google requires it, it does mean I can email you back when I've responded to your question. So I'm going to try to do that as well, as just email people, let them know, hey, I answered your question. If you weren't able to catch the stream, here's maybe a link to the timestamp in the VOD. So yeah, give me your email address, but then give me your name, whatever name you prefer, whatever you would like me to refer, however you'd like me to refer to you when I'm working on and talking about the question you submit. And use your pronouns here if you care. Otherwise, I'll probably just they, you. Where did the question come from? What class and what teacher? That's going to help other students find it and help me organize stuff. And then ask your question. Be as specific as possible. Don't just tell me, oh, number 12, and then send me a picture that's just the full page from your textbook of your homework problems. That, if you do that, the best I can offer is kind of generic help. And then you could maybe chime in the chat with some clarifying questions. But what would be even better is to tell me, you can send me that full picture, the picture of the full page of homework problems, and tell me number 12, but then also tell me, this question uses fractions, and I've only ever done these problems without fractions, and so I wasn't sure if I needed to do anything different, or I wanted to see somebody do this with fractions, as an example, right? That's specific. If the issue was you didn't even know where to start, that's specific though. You can tell me, number 12, send me the picture with all the problems, and then tell me, I don't even know where to start on these, or the problems we did in class, weren't like this. And so I'm not sure what it's asking, or I'm not sure what to do. That's fine. That's as specific as possible. And that lets me know the place you got stuck was even knowing what the problem was even asking you to do. So I can sort of focus in on that. But yeah, be as specific as possible, including telling me about any work you'd already done. If you got partway in and then got stuck or got uncertain. Here's a little checkbox to let me know if you're okay with me sharing your work on stream. If you don't check this box, I will not share your work on stream. That's a promise. Some people though don't mind, and it could be, if you check this box, it's not a guarantee that I will show your work though. But sometimes if people make errors, or not even make errors, just do the problem in an interesting way. Like you send me your work and the first part of the problem or something you did in what I think is kind of a unique way. I would love to be able to share that with other people and show it to them. But do not feel obligated to check this box. This is not required. You only check it if you're okay with it. And then attach images. So the key here is clear and complete images. So by clear, I mean make sure that the text is legible, or if the text is small, make sure when you zoom in, it's legible. So take the picture and then look at the picture and make sure if somebody had sent you that picture, you would be able to read it. Because this is going to be my only access to the problem. So that's what I mean by clear. And like lit well enough, not so dark that I can't read it, right? So just double check the picture and make sure. And then complete means make sure the part of the problem is not cropped out. Make sure the entire problem is visible. And then also, if there's a separate block of instructions, so sometimes there's instructions at the top of the homework sheet, or there's a block of instructions separate from the specific homework problem you need help with, make sure you either include that block of text in the picture or include an additional picture that has that block of instruction text. And if there's any diagrams, make sure those are either in the picture or you include an additional picture that has them. You can attach up to 5 pictures to this. You can also attach PDFs. So like if it's a Canvas assignment that has a PDF, you could screenshot it and submit that picture, or you could just submit the entire PDF. And in your problem description, you tell me, oh, in that PDF, problem number 8, and then you describe your problem to me a little bit. You be specific. This is also where you could attach an image of your own work if you've done any yet. And that can be really helpful for me to answer your question really specifically. Help me give you the best answer possible. Help me figure out where you maybe struggled or went wrong. And again, my promise to you is if you send me a picture of your work, I won't share that on screen unless you've also checked this box. And even then, it's not a guarantee that I'll share it. It just means, if I think it could be useful to the process to share it, then I know I have your permission to do so. And that's a process. And then you can submit, and you can submit multiple questions. I think I would prefer one question per submission right? That way I don't have to figure out, that way you don't have to try to describe two different questions in the same box, and I don't have to figure out which one goes with which pictures and all that. So just submit your question. If there's like a whole section of problems and they're all the same type of problem, and your question is, I don't really know how to do these at all, that's fine. Send me the whole thing. Then we just have a bunch of examples. And especially if it's a slow stream day, then we can just do a few of them on stream. So yeah, that's how you submit your homework questions. I'm going to go back to my tab here, or to the website here. If, like I said, if you click this button and it doesn't take you directly to that form, then what you'll need to do is email me, ryan@thecalculustutor.com. And then here are some guidelines for that. But this is basically just restating the stuff from the Google form. Include your name, what you want me to call you, and pronouns if you care, where the problem's from, teacher and class, your specific question, and then clear, complete images of the problem. So same thing that I asked for in the form, but since an email is open-ended, there's no guidance, this can be helpful to reference. Yeah, so that's how you interact. That's how you get here. I will try to keep an eye, I'm learning to keep an eye on my email inbox and on the form submissions during stream. So I'm getting better at checking those regularly and often. The form should submit very quickly. I should see your question easily within a minute of you submitting it. Email is a different story. Email sometimes can take up to like 5 minutes. It doesn't often take that long, but if you submit via email, just know if I haven't addressed receiving your question yet, it's because it just hasn't hit my inbox. Feel free to pop into chat and ask, though. You're like, hey, I submitted a question a couple minutes ago. You're still talking about this other thing. Have you gotten it? And maybe it's just that I haven't refreshed recently enough. But yeah, so. But it looks like no questions right at the moment. And my before I had the hiccup in the stream, I was having an issue. My Windows was glitching out, but I now have access to my start menu again. Ugh. I did. It just opened, and now it won't open again. What's happening? There we go. Okay. Python. Stop this. I'll share it again. I'll share the. So you download that installer and run that installer, and it's going to, it should ask you if you want to install this idle shell. I recommend it. This is sort of an extra thing. So the programming language itself, just the information about the programming language. When you program in Python, it's all the information that allows the words and symbols you use to get ultimately translated into the binary, so the computer can run your program or your script. Technically, it's a script in Python. Python's a scripting language. Yeah, so when you go to install it, it should have an option asking if you also want to install this. So you want the core language, but then this isn't a slightly additional thing. So you can do this sort of live programming. This isn't always how you program. Often when you program, you write like a code document and then you run it. You have a thing that understands how to do it. Then go essentially line by line and execute those instructions in order. Here, we're giving the computer an instruction, a Python encoded instruction, and then hitting enter and telling it, okay, now execute this instruction now. There are, so we could, if we wanted to, oh, I'm not sharing this. We could, if we wanted to, in just a separate file, and we can actually do that from this program. Like if you go file, just new file, is that the thing that does it? It does. And what that does, so shut down that screen share, go to this other window. Streaming in Chrome, just streaming Chrome tabs is really nice because you can just tell Chrome to switch which tab it's sharing. But when you're sharing separate windows, it's a pain. Okay. This is not exciting, but this is just an untitled Python script file. So I can type commands in here and it will execute them. So like, for instance, let's do a equals 0. A equals 0. There we go. Each command is on its own separate line. You can put extra lines in there. It won't matter. So I can say equals 0. Let's say b equals 10. Actually, let's go up here and make a something more interesting. Let's make a 5, and let's let c equal a plus b. Or let's do a divided by b. Let's just see what happens there. So this command, remember, is going to store c. So we need to make one more command. So it's essentially acting like the previous thing we did. It's going to do this and then act as if you hit enter. Then it's going to do this and then act as if you hit enter. Do this, act as if you hit enter. So now I'm going to put C, and it's just going to act as if I had hit C and hit enter. And now what we can do, so we've typed a series of commands in now. I'm going to go to run, and I'm going to go to run module. Oh, it says it has to be saved. So let me save it really quick. Awesome. Okay. So there's that. And now I should be able to do run module. Oh, you can't see what it's doing because I need to share the other window with you. So, okay, give me one moment. And actually, I will say it wasn't, I expected it to display the value of C, right? So if A is 5 and B is 10 and we do 5 divided by 10, then C should be a half or 0.5. And so that's what we should expect when I run this for it to spit out. But you can't see where it's spitting that out. And also it's not doing that because so just putting C in here doesn't do the same thing as if I had typed C when we were doing it previously and hit enter. When it sees C, it doesn't interpret that to mean, okay, display the value of C. It just sees me stating C as part of the program. And it's like, okay, yeah, C. And then it doesn't do anything. I need to tell it. When you write a script like this, and so notice this is a particular file that I called homeworkhelpstreams.py, py. That's just the extension for a Python script. So something that knows how to read and execute Python scripts, it will understand this type of file extension. So I need to actually tell it to print this. So to display it or print it. And there's an instruction in Python called print. There's actually one called printf in this. Maybe not in this. But print. And then, so when I do print like that, notice it opens. Oh, you can't see this. It opens up like an autocomplete suggestion. There's a little yellow window here that has a bunch of stuff, but I guess you can't see it. So never mind. And so when you do a command in Python, we'll talk more about commands, which are functions is actually what they're referred to as. You tell it the name of the function, or in this case, the command, which is print. Pretty straightforward. And then in the stuff you want it to work, whatever that command or function, the stuff you want it to work with, it needs to know what to print. And we can put lots of stuff in here. I'm just going to tell it C, print C. And this is, so on the previous way we were working with, when I would hit like A and hit enter, it's sort of interpreting that as a print command. So that's what I was telling you. I hit the value and hit enter. It interprets that to mean something. What it interprets it to mean is act as if I had said print that value. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to save it. And now I'm going to stop sharing this. And I'm going to share the other screen. So you saw me go to the menu and go to run on this screen, but you couldn't see anything happening because all that's happening on the other screen. So let me show you that screen. No, that screen. There we go. Okay. So here's this screen again. You can see this up here was me trying to run that thing. And notice it didn't display anything. It just said what the file was. So let me try that one more time. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to run in the menu. But now when I do it on this screen, it's taking a second. Aha! Here we go. It just, when you run it, it just always says this. It says it's essentially restarting this script. So it tells you what it's doing, and then it outputs. Notice it's blue, just like the output before, and 0.5. And in fact, yeah. So 2 ways to sort of interact with this. You can write just what is just a text file, just like on your computer. If you open Notepad and type some stuff in and saved it, it would save it as a text file. That's all a script is, a programming file. It's just a text file that contains some instructions somebody has written in a particular language. And so that's what the .py here is, right? This .py. This could also say .txt, and I believe it would be able to execute it the same. This just lets it know ahead of time, this is particularly a Python file. That way, like this idle shell that uses Python files, when it goes to open something, it's just looking for these rather than looking at all of the generic text files. But in general, that's all a program is when it's written in code. It's just a text file. But then there's other programs that know how to take that text file and translate it and convert it to computer language that the computer can then execute, and we then experience that as a computer program, right? So it's very cool. It's very powerful. Right now, we're just using it as like as a calculator, right? So I think if I just do, I wonder if I can just run it if I just grab the address here. And I just put it here and hit that. Yeah, it doesn't like that. I wonder, hold on a sec. This is a weird thing. Does it want backslashes? I'm very curious. Okay, no. Oh, line continuation character. Okay. I wonder. I'm trying right now. All I'm trying to do is figure out how to get it to run this without me hitting the run button. Is there like a way I can? Okay, there's various commands. So when you're programming, pretty much anybody who programs, they almost always have like a tab open with Google, so they can Google how do you do a particular thing in a particular language, because different languages have different syntaxes, different ways they encode the instructions, right? That's why Python is a programming language, but there's also Ruby, and there's also Google has one called Go, and I build Android apps using a language called Dart. And there's Java and JavaScript and C and C++ and C#. and F sharp and Rust and R, and there's just and Basic, and there are tons and tons and tons of programming languages, and they all have a different syntax. They all use, some of them share syntaxes though too. So you sort of figure, and they're all sort of good at different things and have different strengths and weaknesses, and but you don't really when you're learning, you don't have to worry about any of that. Choose a good learner language, like say Python. Python's a good learner language because it has commands like very straightforward print, right? Here, let me do actually, you know how there were variables in this file? There's A, B's, and C's. They were in that file. Let's see what happens if I hit A now. Now that I ran that file, it's as if I had typed those commands into this interface, right? B, there's 10. There's C is 0.5. So I have those variables there. I did forget. So yeah, so you can write whole scripts, and that's really convenient for if you're actually trying to accomplish something with programming, right? This interface too, where you can do one command at a time and then just hit enter to execute it immediately. This can be really useful for figuring stuff out too, especially if you're trying to use it as kind of a powerful calculator, because it can store variables and things like that. I want to show you one other thing it can do. So there's another way to, so we wrote that file, right? But that file can just execute itself. And if we wanted to change anything, we'd have to go into the file, change, like if we wanted to change the A value, I have to, so that file will divide A divided by B. And if I wanted to do two different numbers, I'd have to go in and change A to something else, change B to something else. So it would be really useful if we could input a collection of instructions for it to do one at a time, or to do all together, one after the other. But if we could give it different values to do those instructions on, so that like divide, if I could instead tell it different numbers to divide. And even more, let's come up with, what's a quick calculation you often have to do? Ooh. I know. Converting between Celsius and Fahrenheit. Right? Okay. So the way you convert Celsius to Fahrenheit, here, let's go back to the Miro board. Just go here. Okay. Sorry, oh, this should work. Excellent. Okay. So here is our instruction for converting Celsius to Fahrenheit. Oh, no, this converts Fahrenheit to Celsius. Hold on a sec. I grabbed the wrong image. We could just use this. Actually, yeah, let's go this direction. This converts Fahrenheit. We put Fahrenheit in, we do some calculations, and the result, the output, we would say, is Celsius, right? So this is, and this sort of, I think this can be a useful, we might want a tool that does this, because maybe it's really easiest for us to get Fahrenheit degrees. We can just look at our phone, or we have a thermometer right there that just reads out in Fahrenheit. But maybe for something we're doing, we just always need to convert that to Celsius, right? So once you learn this conversion, it's pretty quick, and you can sort of learn some ways to do it pretty quickly in your head. But instead of doing that, let's program it, right? So this is what we need to do. Our instructions. So I'm going to go write these down. So our instruction, so if we have Fahrenheit, we have to first subtract 32, then multiply it by the fraction 5/9. Now, I'm actually going to split that up into two more steps. So we're first going to subtract 32, then whatever that is, then we're going to multiply by 5. And then whatever that is, then we're going to divide by 9, right? Because that's the same thing as multiplying by 5/9. We talked about this, I believe, yesterday, that fractions are just division. This 5/9 is the same as 5 divided by 9. So we have 3 steps. If when you have a Fahrenheit temperature, first subtract 32, then multiply by 5, then divide by 9. That's the conversion. It's wonky. It's because Fahrenheit is weird. So we have that. So now I'm going to stop and go back to the programming interface here. And actually, really quick, I'm going to see. Here, I want to try something. I'm trying to figure out how to clear the screen. Oh. Can I do this? Can I do os. Can I import? I can import. What is it? OS. Okay. Okay. Don't worry about this. Just that I'm doing something kind of particular for myself. OS.system CLS. Okay. Are you kidding me? That didn't work. Oh, okay. How about this? Is this gonna? Oh, shell. Restart shell. It's still keeping my cursor down here. Can I type? Okay. All right. This is so frustrating. It's doing that thing again. It's not letting me. Open my start menu. Well, I'm encountering some technical difficulties. So what I would like to show you is there's a different way to create a collection of commands. And you can also tell it, okay, do those commands, but do it with these 2 values instead. or things like that. And so what I want to show you is we're going to build what's a function. So I told you that print command is called a function. You can make your own functions that do whatever you want, and they're very similar to functions you may have learned about in math and like algebra. When you've learned about functions, f of x and things like that. These functions are the exact same idea as math functions. They're just more powerful in some ways, and they share a lot of logic and ideas with math functions. We call them both functions for a reason. They share a lot of those characteristics. So I do apologize for the technical difficulties. My computer is just, it says the CPU is at 100%. It doesn't, for whatever reason today, it does not like everything I'm asking it to do. Okay, there's this. We'll share the screen one more time. What is happening? Okay. Cancel. Sorry, it's not wanting to share my screen now, of course. Yeah, a little bit of technical difficulties today, but I will say I haven't encountered this sort of thing. This is the first time I've had difficulties like this at all. So I suppose I have to consider myself pretty lucky. The screen share, I hit the button to share my screen and it's not seeing this window. And I'm not sure why. It was acting weird about that window before. I do wonder. Google Chrome has a lot of processes open right now. I think that's part of what is bogging my computer down is Chrome itself. Okay. I appreciate your patience while I'm sitting here and sort of futz with this. Okay, finally. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I guess maybe we'll just have to pick up next time there. I think I would probably be able to recover if I shut down the stream and restarted my computer. I don't feel like it's worth it to do that for the last 10 minutes. Because it might take 5 of those minutes to actually get stuff shut down, get my computer restarted, all that sort of stuff, right? With how slow it's going. And I mean that's what I'm going to do after the stream. For sure. So, I might actually, since there's nobody in here, there hasn't been anybody in here. I think I might end the stream early. Because honestly, this is keeping me from doing anything. I can't even share the Miro board now. So even if I did get somebody in to ask a question, my computer's going so slow switching tabs and stuff like that. So I think I'm going to call it here. We will revisit the programming stuff. Everything in these first couple of weeks is an early test version of the stuff I actually want to do. Have a dedicated programming, episode stream where I can talk more specifically about that. So for now, I think I'm going to call this because, yeah, the Miro tab still is not loading. So I think I just need to close all the stuff down. If anybody watches this afterwards, thank you, especially if you made it this far. I will be back tomorrow at this week's normal time, 3:30 to 5. Submit your questions in between live streams. That's totally fine, and then I'll get to them in the next live stream. I hope to see some people tomorrow.